wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey! Welcome to another session of Tarka Say It Again. And today we have with us another educator, and her name is LaShondra Fields.
Hi guys.
She's here with us today because we want to talk about some safety issues as well as some violence. Behavior-wise, and what we are seeing in the classroom, outside of the classroom, on the school grounds, and hopes that possibly she could give us some techniques or maybe advice on what we can do to possibly prevent some of these behaviors. All righty.
I'm
Welcome.
so excited. Thank you for
Welcome.
having me. I appreciate you having me.
Yes. Your family, my family go way back.
Way back.
Yes,
That is
the
so
Pop
crazy.
Warner days.
Yes.
Baby. What was that? Pine Hill.
Pine Hills Trojans.
And
Yeah.
yes, because wasn't it like the gold and the maroon first, and then
And then it switched over to, yeah. Oh, it was way back. Though.
Yes,
It's been a while.
yes, the cheerleading.
Yes.
You took it on and started coaching. So just in thinking about everything that's going on today, right? We just saw on the news at FSU where you had that big scare.
Right.
Two tragedies took place, on campus. And just thinking about the thoughts and the emotions of not knowing what's going on and not being able to reach your child and, all of that, but just seeing it on the news. And it's not what I found that, okay, we see it there, but like this violence is just going on everywhere. Definitely. On the high school level, middle school level, and even elementary level.
Definitely.
Right.
Yes.
So just in thinking about that, like, what are your thoughts on that? What do you think might be going on in these babies' mind, in the household? Just give some feedback.
I want to first start off by saying, like, basically what's probably going on in their mind. Okay. I want to say that social media plays a big factor in how a lot of these kids are acting these days.
Yes.
They're seeing a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing that they do. Another thing I want to bring light to is it starts at home.
Yes.
Regardless of what anybody says, the foundation starts at home. And I feel somewhere along the lines, the kids have gotten lost because the kids have gotten worse. The violence and the disruptive behavior, the disrespect is at an all-time high. And it's definitely not good. And it starts at home. Like I said, parents have to do their job parenting these kids and setting expectations and standards. And it's not all kids. That's how I know it starts at home. It's not all kids. Yes. Some kids know how to behave. Some kids are very respectful. Some kids, they come to class and they do what they're supposed to be doing. And then you have the kids that don't. They're disrespectful. They talk to teachers any kind of way. Not me, because they know better.
Right. I know that's right.
But I've seen it, and I'm the same kid will respect me and be disrespectful to the next teacher.
Right.
So I'm saying you know how to act. So why are you acting differently with one and not the other? It's just, I feel like the foundation needs to be set, though. Kids need to know, like back in my day, we would never.
Oh, we would get out
we would never, like the way that they talk to teachers and talk to adult figures in authority is outrageous.
Yeah, that is the sad part about it, because you've seen over the years how things have transpired and how it has just unfolded. As far as just talking reckless to adults or authority, like you say.
And I teach all seniors, and I like to have open dialogue with them, open conversations, so that I can get a clearance as to where they're coming from. So in speaking with them about situations like, okay, why do you guys feel like, why do you act this way? Why do some of y'all act this way? oh, they're going to respect me. That's the first thing. Okay. And I'm like, okay, so teachers aren't respecting you, adults aren't respecting you. They're just like, they're not going to talk to me any kind of way. Mm-hmm. So they feel that adult figures talk down upon them, which could be true in some situations. Yeah. I treat all my students equal, on the equal playing field, like young adults, because mm-hmm. they're going into the real world. So I'm going to treat them with the same respect they give me. I'm going to give it to them, and I'm going to show them how they should, how they should be and how, they shouldn't be. And they can take it or leave it. And a lot of them take it. Mm-hmm. I don't have discipline issues in my classroom. Right. And I can honestly say the last time I had a discipline issue was over 10 years ago. And I didn't even have to handle it. The kids handled it.
Yeah, literally. Because they see what you've done, your structure. I literally
had a student come in. He had a little attitude, talking reckless. And before I could say anything, a student stood up and said, "You're not going to talk to my teacher like that, bro. Check yourself." And I have to say nothing else. Right. So, it definitely comes down to foundation. I feel like if I can do it in the classrooms, parents can do it at home. Sometimes parents might not have that time or be given enough time to their kids. Parents have to work. I understand that. But we have to make sure we're setting that time aside for our kids mm-hmm. and making sure we're parenting them and raising them in the right way so that they can go down the right path and not be like some kids that are going down the wrong path.
Right. So that's key. And the fact that you made that correlation with you in the classroom, coming in the beginning of the school year, mm-hmm. setting those ground rules, mm-hmm. letting them know what the expectations mm-hmm. are, sticking to them. Because a lot of times we set rules and whatnot, mm-hmm. but we don't stick to them because they give us that attitude, or because they not want to do what you say do, or whatever the case. Mm-hmm. We kind of maybe soften up and become lenient and don't stick to it mm-hmm. and let them know, no, we mean business. This is what we're asking for, and I expect to have it. Mm-hmm. Maybe be leisure on the time it takes to get what I asked for, but no, I need that. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? So I think that's a good point, and basically that's what your advice is, mm-hmm. letting the parents know it need to start young. Yes. At a young age. Don't think adolescent age, mm-hmm. you're going to come in and change some things that have not been put in place with that foundation you talked about. Yeah. Yes, as a young child, like that's not going to happen. And the fact that you said habits, mm-hmm. because, this book here, this award-winning book, the patterns, we talk about mm-hmm. those things could be either learned behavior mm-hmm. or hereditary, or what we say generational mm-hmm. curses, or just generational habits. Right. Like, well, your mama did it, so you doing it right. Or your daddy wasn't no good, mm-hmm. so you ain't gonna be no good. Like, I've heard parents actually say that, to the kids. Mm-hmm. So just in thinking about that, what category would you put that in when we talk about the behaviors that we witness on a day-to-day basis?
I'm going to put that with learned behavior. Okay. Because I feel like a lot of the behavior is learned, whether it's inside the house or outside of the house. There's a lot of influence in our kids these days, in their heads and their mindsets. So I can say that's probably a learned behavior, because your parent might not be one way, but you might be a reckless child. Mm-hmm. So that's not generational. That's something that's been learned. Right. So, definitely a learned behavior, I would definitely say.
And parents, we're not saying that because your child or someone mm-hmm. is behaving this way, that they got it from your household. Mm-hmm. They could have gotten it in the school. They could have gotten it at their cousin's house. They could have got, at a family member, or just being out in society. Yes. Or the phones, like we say, And
I just want to bring light to this situation, because your child may be doing something that you have no idea what they're doing, and they might be putting on an image in front mm-hmm. of you. True story. There's a kid who said something inappropriate in the classroom, and when parent was contacted, my child would never. Was the first thing. Okay. But I'm contacting you because your child did. What you said. My child would never. Like, but your child did. Mm-hmm. So being aware that your child can do wrong, and they do pick up habits from other places, that is something that we're dealing with as well. And as parents, I think that there's no rule book to parenting. No. We're all learning. Yes. We learn something. I learned from my kids. Because of me teaching seniors, helped me raise my son. Mm-hmm. Listening to them, it helped me be a better parent. Yeah. So I can honestly say that I was in a win-win situation, because I'm dealing with these kids. And by the time my kid got to high school, I was able to deal with him a little bit better than other parents would have. And that's an advantage. I feel like that's an advantage for me.
Right.
A lot of parents don't have that advantage. A
That
lot of parents,
wickedness.
that wickedness, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of parents don't have maybe that support or that structure that they need. But don't be scared to reach out for help, because people will help you.
Right.
I've had parents say, I washed my hands with him.
Mm-hmm.
You got him.
Yeah, I've heard
And he's changed. He changed. And sometimes all it takes is someone else coming in, talking to them, guiding them. It doesn't always have to be the parent.
Showing that they
But
care.
the parent needs to show that they care about that kid to get them help or get help elsewhere. So, I mean, there's options. It doesn't mean you're a bad parent because you have a bad kid.
It doesn't mean that
Doesn't
you're a
mean
bad
that.
parent because you had to reach out either.
That part. I think sometimes parents may feel embarrassed
Mhm.
or feel like they may looked at or deemed as a bad parent if they do reach out, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? It takes a village.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely takes a village. And I feel like we always need to tap into those resources, especially single parent households. I'm a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to tap into resources, you know?
Right.
So it's nothing wrong with tapping into those resources to help raise your child so they stay on that clear and narrow path.
Right.
Kids are going to mess up. Kids are going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But what can we do to correct that going forward?
Right.
And that's what we're literally looking at right now. I have students right now that have definitely changed from the beginning of the school year till now, and it makes me so proud.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, I'm a water bag. And
Really?
I'm like, oh my God, you did a 360. They were like, thanks, Miss Fields, thanks. You know, so that warms my heart.
Yeah.
And
That's
I just
why
feel
we
like
do what we do.
exactly. So I just think more parents need to just stay grounded with their rules and regulations. I know kids are more vocal these days. They're gonna do what they want to do. They think you're grown,
Mm-hmm.
clearly. But reach out for the help and just stick to what you believe in at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah. Staying grounded. Yes, I like that. Sticking to your rules.
Mhm.
Because as we always say, that this just a different generation here. They're
Different.
technical, polytechnical.
Yes, very.
With everything.
Yes.
They want their drop the mic
Mhm.
moment. Just having that last
And they
say.
question everything. Everything you say, they question. They gotta have the last word.
Why?
Why? Why I gotta do this? Why?
Because we go back
I
to the
just
old
like,
school.
because I said so. I just never pictured this generation being like this based on how I grew up. Because there's some things that they do that I would never.
Right.
I'm like, we never did that.
And
We
just
would
think
never.
about it with our parents. They probably say the same
Same
as
thing.
us. Same thing about us. I
We
wouldn't
used
have
to do
thought
that.
this. Right.
So I think, but I can honestly say because when I was in school, we didn't have cell phones. We had a pager, a beeper.
Yes. I call it the garage door open.
I look forward to going to school to be with my friends to socialize. They on social media all day. They don't care.
Mhm.
They can get to their friends real quick. You know what I mean? We had to wait, call them on the phone at home, call a three-way. Things are so different. So technology has definitely influenced the way that our kids are coming up in society and the way that they act and behave. And it definitely puts more pressure on the parents. And I can say teachers as well,
Mhm.
because it's a struggle sometimes. It's definitely a struggle for all of us, but we need to do a better job at working together.
Yeah.
I think that's where the downfall is. We have to do a better job at working
Coming together.
Yes, support,
Yes.
definitely.
I don't think there's anything else to say after that. Just literally coming together for the betterment of these students,
Mhm.
for these children, because you brought up a point earlier where the child may act a certain way in the household,
Mhm.
but when they come on campus, we seeing a total different person.
Mhm.
And then you mentioned you went to share that information with the parent, and the parent would, oh, my child would never.
Right.
Let's be more open-minded.
Right.
And let's just hear the teacher out.
Yeah.
Hear the principal out, whomever it is that's speaking on
Right.
the child, and let's see how we can fix and correct some of these behaviors. Or let's go back to the root of how did we even get here? What made you do what you did?
Mhm.
What made you say what you said? What
Mhm.
made you act the way you acted? Versus trying to go for the juggler, I say,
Yeah.
the teacher,
Mhm.
and trying to find fault in the teacher. Let's
Let's
see.
figure it out.
Right,
Yes,
let's
together.
talk about it. Let's discuss it.
So sometimes I have these days, once a semester, where I'll let kids vent and express themselves, what's going on,
Okay.
if something's bothering you, whatever.
I like it.
So when I came to the conclusion that one day, it was probably I think last semester, what is really going on? One thing is they want to be heard. they feel like their parents don't listen to them at all.
Okay.
So they feel like
parents, did you hear that? They feel that you don't listen to them. And listen, she shared she's a parent. I'm a parent. We've heard this before.
Yes.
So take heed.
Yes. And like I said, this helped me with my son. But they feel like parents don't listen, which is understandable because I've found myself at times as a parent not listening. You know, we're so quick to chastise, yell, come down on them before we even listen to the situation or hear them out or even let them express themselves. Some kids have a really good relationship with their parents. They talk to their parents on a daily basis, but not all kids have that relationship. Right. So a lot of kids vent to me. They come to me, Miss Fields, I need your help. I need your advice. And I'm right there as a listening ear for them. But they want their parents to be in that position and in that role to listen to them. Instead of jumping to conclusions, instead of yelling, the first thing coming out of your mouth is, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just listen. So, yeah. I had to learn that. So, I mean, as a parent, with a single mom with a boy, I definitely had to learn that.
Right.
So.
Definitely. Oh, that's everything. Listen, we just hope that the listeners, they're actually listening. You know, not so much to respond or, you know, have something negative to say, but to actually take in and take heed because this is what you're actually hearing in the classroom from the kids, you know, right from the horse's mouth, as you say.
Also, I think I had this as one of my topics on my Facebook post about whose fault is it when a kid does this and does that. And, you know, everybody's like the parent. Okay, to a certain extent, yes, it's the parent, but it's all of our fault. We all need to pick up slack where I feel like like I said, we need to work together. I feel like it's all of our fault. If a kid does something and something out of the ordinary, we failed them. Somewhere down the line, somebody failed them. Whether it was a parent, whether it was a teacher, whether it was a counselor, a community member, a church member, somebody failed them. At some point in their life, somebody failed them. Like, these kids are not coming out the womb bad. Right. So somewhere down the line, we failed them. We failed them somewhere. Somebody failed them. Like, and we don't need to point the fingers. We need to come together. Right. So
that's key. And also just thinking about that, where you say, okay, they're not just coming out of the womb like that.
And I would also say other family members play a role in the helping of the raising of the kids. Aunties, uncles, grandma, grandpas, like we all have to support each other. And I think that there's been a breakdown somewhere, you know, in our society to like help these kids.
Right. Definitely. You know, when we talk about the safety on campus, off campus, because sometimes these fights, they break out after school in the neighborhood.
Definitely.
A lot of times they are birthed or they come from something, you know, after school and they bring it to the schools. Right. You see variances. But just hope that we could try to get a handle on it and listen. What we see today is nothing new, right? But it seems like it is elevating. It seems like it is becoming more prevalent. Like we're seeing more of it.
Right.
It's increasing. Because think about it. Guns, it's becoming the new norm.
The new norm, yeah.
Whereas back in the day, like I went, you know, to high school, there was an incident where a child was shot and that was it one time. That's it. For the 4 years of being in high school, you know, fortunately it wasn't a fatal shot, but now it's like every time you turn on the news,
something,
somewhere, some state,
something's happening.
It's just magnifying. That's my word. Yes. It's magnifying.
We talk about school safety all the time. Sometimes, you know, when an incident happened at a school, fight or whatever, parents, my kid's not going there. Every school has fights. Every school has fights.
Yes, I can
it's just that
concur on that.
Some schools get more heightened than others for whatever reason, and I don't like that. I don't like that. It hurts me because the simple fact that I've been in education for over 20 years. So I have friends that work at other schools. I hear things all the time.
Right.
And prior to an incident happening at the school that I worked at, we hadn't had any fights in weeks. Like
Nice.
since what, maybe first 9 weeks, maybe or longer, like literally. So the one time that something does break out, it's like negative, and I didn't like that because what about all the positive that's been going on at the school?
Right.
There were schools that were not Title I schools that had balls at their school. Did you hear anything about it? No, but I did.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, it's just so heightened because it's a certain area, it's a certain school, and I don't like that. Yes. That bothers me. It irks me. I definitely made a post about it. Definitely.
She keeps us current on just high school in general and the things that she witnessed behavior-wise, all of that. So her page, LaShondra Fields, no, Shauna Pooh.
Oh, I know. I changed it back to my name. Yes, I did. I changed it back.
So
yes,
she can go too when we talk about things that go on in the schools. And definitely, you all, I would say, if you still have kids in the education system, check her out. You know, not only that, but just reach out to those ones that have been put in place for a reason. That's their job, to help out. Don't feel embarrassed because you're reaching out. Don't think that you're not equipped because you're reaching out. Sometimes kids listen to those that don't live in the household. Sometimes they take for granted what's already there in place, right? As a parent, I can say something, but then my sister come and say the same thing, and those babies, they take it
in
like a grain of what we say, as a grain of salt. Yes. They take it and they receive it, and you know, you see a difference. But you was like, I just said that. But that's just
sometimes
an
they just need to hear it from someone else.
Yes.
Because I had a female student, ask me for some advice on something before, and she was like, "My mama said the same thing." I said, "Well, you need to listen to your mama." But you know, she just probably wanted to hear that extra set of ears.
Confirmation.
So confirmation.
That's what we're gonna say.
Yes, confirmation.
Not that she didn't want to listen to it.
So definitely confirmation. And it's just, sometimes it's just better coming from someone, like you said, not inside of the household. Because they're so adapted and used to that, you know, on a regular basis.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to say to the parents, to the students, as far as just trying to correct those behaviors, just to simply help us as individuals? Hey, I want to be around a little bit longer. I want to see my child. I want to see my child grow up. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times things are has like by accident.
Yeah, definitely.
Or something happens and then automatically they're remorse or they're sorry or they didn't mean to do it. Like, but I can't correct this sorry.
One thing I preach to my students is think before you act. I say this all the time because there's always consequences to whatever you do, good or bad. There's consequences. So you need to think about what you're doing before you do it. Think about who it's going to affect. It's going to affect your parents. It's going to affect your entire family. It's going to affect you. So the biggest thing is, parents, this is for you. Talk to your kids. Look at their social media. Look at their spam pages because you can find out a lot about your child through social media.
Yes.
Literally. Like, I see high schoolers posting guns.
Yeah.
I see high schoolers doing drugs or doing this and that. Like, you can see what's going on, but I'm looking like, do their parents know? Are their parents seeing the same thing that we're seeing?
Check the rooms.
Check your kids. There's nothing wrong with it. Checking their stuff because
they don't pay no bills there.
You can save them. Yes, you can definitely save your child. It's never too late. Like, to change them from how they are or the path they're going down. Right now we're on this big thing where they crash out kids YNs. Yes. So make sure your kid is not a YN.
Yes.
Because they're partaking in activities that they shouldn't be partaking in.
And if you don't know what YN is, ask somebody.
Google it. Google will tell you everything you need to know.
Google University. I done told y'all.
Google will tell you. But literally, we need to be more attentive to our kids and what they're doing, what they're getting into, their whereabouts, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
We're living in a society at this day and age where anything can happen. So the best thing is making sure we're talking to our kids, making sure we're staying grounded, keeping them motivated, keeping them on a straight and narrow path, just trying your best. And if you need help, reach out for help. Like, there's nothing wrong with you needing help.
Yes. And that's the summary today for our session of Tarika Say It Again. And check us out on addictivepatterns.com. Follow us Instagram, Addictive Patterns. And don't forget to follow, like, share, all of that on YouTube.
And subscribe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I got
ma'am.
you. And subscribe.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.